computer and we can connect later.
Figure it out.
Thank you, babe.
Okay. So I had this like huge slump and I tell you what, Carrie called me at the end of every month and she was like, how are you doing? Like, and I would be like, I don't think coaching is for me. Like, this is like this, and everything was like, does this prove that I'm a good coach or not? That literally is what I was doing. Every action, every conversation, everything I put out there was saying whether I was a good coach or not. So if I got a good reaction, it was like, okay, I can do this. This is me. And if it was bad, it was like, oh, I'm terrible at this, blah, blah, blah. It was a terrible roller coaster to be on. So I started doing the GoPro coaching thing. And I could call into a coach at any time. And I started learning about what is a limiting belief, how are we self-sabotaging, all of that stuff, and working on my mindset. I needed to clear limiting beliefs and I needed to replace them with empowering beliefs. And I learned about this with all kinds of areas, but definitely with money. So in one of those calls, so I got a lot of responses from people. Oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I can't do it. I don't have enough money. And on all the calls, they were like, well, that tells you that you have some issues with money. I was like, what? I don't know. But then I realized in a call that they said, okay, your limiting beliefs, look at what are your excuses, what makes you angry, what annoys you about other people. And I work at a very rich school. And I was getting really annoyed at my students, like at their privilege, I just felt like they didn't have gratitude for their wealth that they had. And they took things for granted and like had never even cleaned a toilet till we had them do it at school, that kind of stuff. And so I was talking about that with the coach and realized, oh, I have a belief that money makes you act selfish and privileged. Because I cried when I said that out loud. So that's how I knew it hit home. I was like, oh, I really do hold that belief. So then I have been working on my money mindset since then. It was like I started saying every day, and I still say it to this day, the more generous I am, the more money I make. The more money I make, the more generous I can be. And I read Jen Sincero's book, I Am a Badass with Money. I did like the latte factor. I dove in and really like went into that. And I learned about all kinds of techniques you can use to clear your limiting beliefs. So some of the steps that I took to improve my mindset are, I really realized that even though on team calls, people would be like, you got to hustle your business. You stay up late into the night, you get up early in the morning. And I was like, this never sat with me. And I was like, when I do that, I'm a disaster. I'm like emotionally a mess. I can't think. Like I sit there and I'm like gonna write an invite and I'm like, like nothing comes, right? And so I realized, no, sleep's important. And that's where I recharge. And it's not about like working hard to get more. There's a difference. And so I started making sure I put my sleep as a priority. And what that meant is like I needed to get to bed on time. And that meant maybe I don't scroll social media, maybe I don't understand the TV as long. So it's like you think about what are you going to take it away from? So I made that a non-negotiable, but I also made a power hour non-negotiable. Like I had to make that happen earlier so I wasn't staying up into the night to do it. Also meditation, making sure that I made myself do that every day because I realized my brain stopped being so crazy when I was meditating every day. It was calmer. Also doing 10 gratitudes. So I start my day by thinking, okay, yesterday, what went well? And I start with writing down 10 things that I'm grateful for from the day before and 3 wins from my business. And Carrie held me accountable to this. She would text me, what are your 3 wins from yesterday? That was like one of the most effective things she ever did as my coach, is make me tell her 3 wins from the business. And she knew I could say 3 wins from life. She made me say 3 wins from the business. And that was pivotal because I had to really dig and realize, oh, when my challenger, shows up and logs a workout, that's a win in the business. When someone messages me and says, I went for a walk yesterday, like that's a win in the business. When I'm inspiring people to work on their health and fitness. And so that, because I was focusing on where I'm not winning and that wasn't serving me. And so she focused me in. So if you have coaches that are struggling with this, highly recommend this tip of just a text daily, like, okay, what are your 3 wins from business? And then we'll get them out of that headspace. She also made me make a success folder. So when I would get those messages from challengers, screenshot it and put it in that proof that I'm a good coach. And so then when I'm like struggling, she's like, look at your success folder. And I'd like scroll through it and have all these messages of people telling me how much this has changed their life. And when you see that, you can't help but know that you're making an impact. And it doesn't matter what the Success Club numbers are. That's not the only thing that shows that you're a good coach. Like, you have to look in all these other measurements. And the universe knew that too. And that's why I wasn't hitting Success Club. I had to learn that lesson. So then I did the Rachel Hollis. She's got this thing that guides you through like writing your 10 dreams. You make your big life and you like boil it down to 10 dreams. So I still do that. They're not the same as they were back then when I wrote them. They've changed, but every day I write down 10 dreams of like where I'm headed. So I'm going in the right direction, and I say them out loud when I write them. And then just battling those limiting beliefs. So doing, I'll share some strategies with you in the future, but I basically learned strategies I could use. I could call into that coach line anytime. They would lead a clearing with me if I needed, or teach me some other technique I could use. So I'll share some of those with you in later on. And then the big one is focus on serving. And Carrie's really good at reminding me about this. Like when I start getting in my head, she's like, remember every day before you start your power hour, really just say, who can I serve today? How can I serve today? And thinking about that with our posts, with our stories, and with our messaging. Because if we're serving, then it's all worth it. Okay. So I'm sure you know this, but just so we're all on the same page with the same language, a limiting belief is any belief, conscious or unconscious, that holds you back from reaching your goals. And it's disempowering often because they are unconscious. Like, for example, my money belief that I didn't even know I like had, it will affect how you behave and the actions that you take. And so it will have an effect on your life. And so when they're unconscious, they're the most dangerous. So really being able to discover what they are so you can work on them is the key. They lower your emotional vibrancy. So I am very woo woo, and I believe in the universe. I believe in our vibration. I believe that we bring to us the law of attraction. We bring to us what we focus on. And I still to this day, I'll get caught focusing on the wrong thing. And sometimes it'll be in a different area of my life. Like I'm pretty good at like bringing it that way with coaching, but then it'll like be this other area. And I'm like, oh, I am not applying my same techniques here. Let me try this. Right. But we got to get stuck in it, and we got to have things go crazy and bad sometimes to like have those life lessons. But if we can bring ourselves back to gratitude, bring ourselves back to what is working, that's going to raise our vibration. And that's when we're going to attract that to us. It keeps you stuck when you can really get stuck. And we see this in our challengers. Even our prospects. Actually, we see this a lot in our prospects. The one that like, you can tell they want to sign up with you, but they just don't. There is always some reason why they can't, and they're stuck. So it's thinking about our messaging, maybe in our post, really think about that person when you're crafting that post to help them realize what that limiting belief is so that they can start to get out of that and stop self-sabotaging. I love to teach about that, because when I learned that, I was like, oh, that's why we get on our own way. Like once I realized, I try to teach that as much as I can in posts and stories and reels, all of that. Your life is as good as your mindset. I love that. I love that quote. Okay. So common limiting beliefs, coach style. I'm not good enough. That's general. That behind almost every limiting belief is I'm not good enough. I'm not interesting. How many people have heard their coaches say, I am not interesting, right? It's like, no, actually, you're so interesting. And I was just reminded about this when we started at my school. We have 2 new hires. And so we just started and we all shared our life story. And it took 2.5 hours, but it was fascinating. It was like, wow. And so if people really sit there and tell their life story, it's like, you are so interesting. You have to see it yourself though. I can't close the deal. Oh, this was one of my strong ones for a long time. I can get people interested and I talk, but I just can't close the deal. And I would say that when you catch your coaches saying what they just can't do, that's when we know we need to somehow raise their awareness around their language that they're using and what they're saying, and the confidence that we need to like help instill them with. It's not about like you closing the deal. Let's look at your conversations. Let's dig into this together. I'm not outgoing enough. I don't have enough followers to be successful, or I don't have enough whatever it is to be successful. So that's what we hear a lot. All right. So how do we find our limiting beliefs? Like I said before, your excuses, what you avoid, what you fear, what annoys you in other people. I get this card that comes up. I have these Gabby Bernstein decks, and one of them that comes up is the difficult relationships in my life are a mirror to what I need to work on. And I'm like, oh, yes. It's like we think it's that word, it's them. They got to fix themselves. I'm so annoyed. But no, back at yourself there. What do you need to work on? And then, so again, you're with your prospects, objectives. What are they saying? Like really catch that and then dig deep into yourself. And then repetitive self-sabotage. What do you keep sabotaging yourself in that you want to do? And like, and this we see a lot in our prospects where they're maybe they even do sign up with us and then they get sick, right? Day one, start day, they're sick. And people are like, well, legit, I got a cold. That comes from your mindset. I know it sounds woo-woo, but like even like someone breaking a leg, like that's what they manifested to them because of their fear and their limiting beliefs. I'm just going to say it. I am totally there now. I've seen it happen so many times that I don't doubt that anymore. I really do. It comes from your mindset. So what do I do? This is something you can teach your clients and your coaches and use yourself. So the 3-step process, basically it can be used when you are having repetitive emotions. It could be those repetitive thoughts. Like maybe it's around one of those limiting beliefs thoughts of like, I can't close the deal. You might say, so the first step is basically like you put your hand on your heart, and skin to skin is actually the best. And you take a deep breath and you just name it. You say, there it is. That's not me. That's a program. That belief that I just can't close the deal, it's a program. And I feel it. I feel it in my gut, and I feel it a 9 right now. Like I believe that hardcore right now. Like I'm really in this right now. And maybe it's anxiety. Ooh, I'm feeling anxiety and I'm feeling it in my chest and I'm feeling it 9, right? Or maybe it's the belief of whatever it is, a limiting belief, a feeling. You can use it with any of those things. So then the step 2 is the hardest, because a lot of times the reason these things persist is because we resist them. We need to feel it. So when I'm feeling anxiety, or when I'm feeling that like I just can't close the deal, or I'm just not enough, I have to sit in that feeling. Wow, I'm really feeling like I'm not enough right now. Like I feel that lack. I feel that I can't live up. And I let myself go to those thoughts and like really feel it and be honest with it. With an anxiety, like, wow, my chest is tight right now. I'm feeling constricted. I'm feeling scared. Just talk through it and feel it. Because I'm a recovering do not feel your feelings person. I would push them away. Nope, I'm a happy person. I don't have those negative feelings. If someone else had those negative feelings, I was like, get away from me. I don't want to deal with those negative feelings. And that was like really hard in a relationship, right? Oh, you're having a bad day. I'm going to step over here. Can you deal with your shit? Doesn't work, right? So you got to feel it. And then the next part, I like the next part because you release it. But you have to say, when you release it, you say, thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And the reason you do that is a recognition that was there to serve you. Like you developed that sometime in your past because you needed to. And that's something sometimes we need to get clear with our old selves. Like you might need to talk to that self of when you were 30 or 20 or 10 or 7, who made this thing that you do now, and say, it's okay. Like, I know you were doing the best that you knew how to do, but we're going to do it different now. Like, I've got it. Your grounded, empowered self is now going to do things different. And you have to make sure those other selves know that and are feeling safe. And so that's where I love you. You are here, like anxiety. I know you're here to protect me, but it's actually not helping right now. So we're going to try something different. And just really talking with yourself that way. So that's a step. Now, if you don't have time to go through the 3-step process, but you've got that thought visiting you, one thing you can do, like maybe you're teaching class, or, like you're out somewhere and you don't have time to do the 3-step process, cancel. You do not have to allow those thoughts, because our thoughts have power. And when they live in us, they they will affect us. So when I start to hear that come, cancel. Like I've got something right now I'm working on, and every time it comes, I'm like, you're not allowed to think that right now. You made that rule. Like, well, okay, not allowed to think that. Like, you don't let it go all the way through. And then one of the best things that I know is a clearing. And that is basically a guided visualization. I have a general one in my podcast. My podcast is called I am, and then a space possible life podcast. And I did like a general clearing that guides you through so you can know like how it goes. But that's something that I did with those coaches and that learned how to do. And now we'll do with clients or friends, and I'll help them guide through basically visualizing, physically getting rid of that belief from your body. It's so powerful. Every time I've done a clearing, it's done a shift. I believe I did a clearing with you, Marie, once, didn't I?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Actually, after my sister passed away, like a year into that, we connected on the phone and you did a clearing. And then when we were in one of the retreats, I don't know where, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that.
It
Very
really does
powerful.
shift things.
It really did. I was it made all the difference. So thank you. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's what I had. I just have this on here to let you know that I do have a mindset makeover course. So if you or someone that you work with, like, this is something that like is really holding them back, these are the topics that we go through in my course. And that's it. That's what I have for you today.
Hey, awesome. That was great. Thank you so much. You guys, if anybody has any questions, I know I jotted down a couple that I was going to ask about this amazing call tonight. Can you tell me, what is the latte factor?
I don't remember right now who it's by, but it's a short little book. And so if you just Google the latte factor, I'm sure it will come up. But really, really great way of like he suggests making a savings account in your bank that's labeled that thing that you want to do, because he's a big proponent on like, yeah, you have to set yourself up for your future, but you also have to live your life. And like, there are things like you can stop buying coffees and that's going to save you a lot of money, but then like put some of that money into an account for like maybe that book writing class that you wanted to take that you haven't done, like that kind of thing. It was a really good book.
I like that, because I often feel sometimes that we have like these big goals that we're working towards, and we kind of, not like we're missing the life that we're living right now, but like get out there and do stuff,
Yeah.
like, because you could be working towards this goal and then these years and times passes by.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I almost hit it, but I wasn't doing the living during that. And I like that you said that, because I feel like I was quote unquote raised during the faster, stronger, harder, don't watch Netflix, don't watch TV, do this to build a business. And burnout is real, Take that time for yourself, do that, feel those feelings, do that self-awareness, enjoy time with your family. You want to go surfing, you want to go to the beach, do those things and make time for joy in your life, because that is what is going to give you longevity, not only in your own journey, but also in this business. I also have another question real quick. I know that you maybe have just done a retreat for like a retreat, or you offer those, not really a coach retreat, but you actually do a
mindset, basically
a mindset retreat, whether you're doing Beachbody or you're doing just a regular human in the world, like whatever it is. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, because I feel like that. Well, I'm sure you all know, when we go to those Beachbody events, like being in person with people and doing that work together in person is so powerful. And so that's why I was like, this can be for anyone. And so these retreats are meant to help you look into what is a limiting belief. It's kind of like going through the things that I talked to you about, just deeper and with other people. And then adding in what I love. like kayaking or hiking or swimming at the beach and being in nature. And I'm starting to do like more guided meditation day trips like around me, and like just like really getting people together and in nature. I think we so need that, especially after the pandemic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that might be good for a lot of the things you have in the works, Diane Amelia. I actually was thinking about how you guys are a lot in the same lane on a lot of things. So that might be another way that you can, add to the many layers of your business. So just something to consider. Great. So does anybody else have any questions or takeaways that they would love to ask Lisbeth before we jump off?
I love what you said about giving yourself permission to sleep, because I have literally had that conversation with myself. Like, would a real business owner sleep an extra hour? Would a real business owner being up at 3 a.m., and doing that thing that we all know is the thief of joy, comparing myself to an imagined version of a successful entrepreneur, a successful business owner, a successful CEO. And I had a little aha moment today when I was hiking in nature.
Yeah. I saw that when you were hiking.
It's like, I'm 64 years old, for Christ's sake. I know what I'm doing. And if I need to sleep, I'm going to sleep.
I love what Gabby Bernstein says. She really touts that, like, it's not about grinding harder. It's about, are you clear of what you're doing so that when you are grinding or when you are working and you are reaching out, what kind of vibration are you sending out? So like I've done those grind groups where you push to diamond, send 100 invites a day, and I got no response. Whereas this week, like I've been doing a lot of self-work because I'm dealing with some personal stuff. And so I know this is what I need. And so I was like kind of feeling like, oh, am I not giving enough time to my business? But I did the few things I did. Like I showed up to our team call on Wednesday. Carrie had us go through our phone, write down a list. She's like, I don't care how long you've been coaching, write down a list of people you could invite. And then I got to that yesterday. I already have 3 people who want to sign up with me. It's like, I didn't grind harder. I got more in touch with myself and my energy. And now my vibration can attract that to me.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's so true.
I love that.
If someone is interested in your course, how would they find it? Does it stream? Is it live? Can you say a little bit more about that?
I did it on Thinkific. And so you can just go to my Thinkific and click on it. And the first module is actually free, so you can check it out.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, I'll just put the link in here. I think that's probably
link.
the easiest.
I'm like literally going blind and deaf. Diane Amelia is my interpreter on all trips. Remember?
Let me
visual aid.
I'm not sharing screen, right? Okay, good.
No.
But I had like a panic moment that I just shared my screen.
What are you hiding?
No, your secrets are safe.
Well, I keep the link like on also like a list where I also put like, passwords that I can't remember, because I am very honest in the fact that I can't remember all of the things I need to remember. Also, I don't know if anyone has anyone like this, but I told you I started my story saying I had that C-section where I almost died and I had to recover from that. And I went to a PT because I couldn't get help from my doctor. And so I made a course called Back to Fit After Baby, which basically goes over those physical therapy techniques that I learned. So when you have someone who's like just had a baby and they're like, I'm going to do all the crunches, be like, no, please take this course. It's free. Because I want people to know that information. So that is on there too. Once you go there, you'll see my school, and you can send that to anyone who's just had a baby. Like, let's get that word out there.
I couldn't do crunches for years. Speaking of that, like I literally felt like not TMI, but like pelvic floor pressure for like 4 years after Landon.
Yeah. So I just was like, I made that course, and I'm like, everybody needs this information.
Oh, gosh. What were you going to say, Krista? I think you had a question. I saw you unmuting.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say thank you. This was really helpful. And I know that's one area I really need to work on is limiting beliefs. I have a lot of them.
We all do. You're not alone.
So this was actually super, super helpful. I'm going to look at some of those books you suggested. And I took screenshots of your
Oh, nice.
slides so I can go back and remind myself, like, especially that one about, like, I was just telling myself today, like, I had 2 people I was talking to this week, Diane, Steve, were on the Team Cup, and I just can't close the deal.
But you can.
Yes, you can.
I was just telling myself that today, and I was like, they both are like super interested, and now they've just like ghosted me for the last 2 days, and I'm like,
And it's their limiting beliefs. So
Yeah.
the more that you can show up to them with love and compassion and help them get curious about what's holding them back, that's what's
Mhm.
going to bring them back to you later.
okay.
And are they watching your stories and liking and your posts and things too?
One is, yeah, one's I've been talking to for years, or I should say probably a little over a year now. The other one I actually just met at a paddleboarding event I went to last weekend. So that was fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
Nice.
Use the workouts as to help her support the paddleboarding if she likes to do different sports.
right,
It
yeah.
would help her out with that kind of stuff. I mean, use it
Yeah.
as a tie-in, weave it in somehow.
Oh yeah.
Right
Yeah.
into the, you know,
Yeah.
Yep. The more that we can divorce from the outcome, the more the outcome will be what we want it to be.
What is that thing you say, Elizabeth?
I'm completely committed and fully unattached.
Completely.
Yeah. I realized I'd gotten back into attachment to Success Club the last couple months. And so that's where I've been working really hard on shifting my energy now.
Once
Hang
you're
on.
unattached to that,
Yeah.
it's so freeing.
I love that. Can you say that again?
I'm
Yeah, I-
completely committed and fully unattached. Because
yeah.
being unattached doesn't mean you just go, oh, well, you know, whatever, I'll let whatever happen, happen. No, you're working, you're like doing the things, but
it's
you
not
don't know
crushing
what
your
will come
soul.
from that.
Yeah, but it's not
Who
like,
knows
oh,
what
I
will
gotta
come.
get it. You know, you're not hardcore about it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've been like that. I was 82 months at Success Club 10, and then I wasn't hitting it. First thing was like, I was so attached to it that when I didn't, I literally felt like from here to like, I don't even know how to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I like
And lost your
literally have
confidence.
that written down in my office. I rewrote it down
Mhm.
in my office about what you said, because that has been a game changer for me, and a lot of the girls that I coach and support. So
Yeah.
Like you
awesome.
always say, Marie, help 3 people, but it's not about Success Club. It's helping the 3 people is what matters.
Yeah.
That's the
And really, we're
Success
all
Club is just a
helping.
byproduct of it. The
We're all
points are
helping
just a
way more
byproduct.
than 3 people.
Oh yeah, exactly. But it's just a byproduct of
Yeah.
you helping them.
True.
Everything else is a byproduct.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, I want to definitely respect everybody's time tonight. I know back to school and all the things that we're doing. I've gotten so many notes and so many things to, put in my own life and carry over to my coaches and challengers. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I cannot wait to see you again. I hope to be on one of your mindset retreats or back at your parents' house in Michigan, enjoying the cozy basement and stretching out, because that was one of the times I'll never forget in my life. So thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. And I can't wait to see you guys this week on social media, and then of course in the future. So yay.